Hey guys, it is Currie Cup weekend again, and this weekend it is the Cheetahs versus the Western Province. It is a massive game. Both teams need to win it, especially the Cheetahs if they want to get into that playoff positions. The weekend's games are a bit weird. You'll see the Sharks Griquas game and the Cheetahs versus Western Province games. Those are at the same time, so get dual screens ready, watch it on catch up. I don't know how you want to watch it. And then on Wednesday, the Bulls and the Lions are playing as well. So the Lions, they are effectively playing twice in 1 week. If you do go into the log, you'll see the Cheetahs are in 5th place. They are 5 points behind the Western Province. The Lions, they would probably get points against the Pumas. The Sharks will probably get points against the Griquas. So the Cheetahs, the only target they can actually have is on the Western Province. If they do have a bonus point win here, they will get into the 4th spot, moving the Western Province down to 5th position. So it is a massive clash in this game. If we do go into this game's history or what the teams have done so far, the Stormers beat the Cheetahs previously in this year so far by 30 points to 13. If we do go on to the recent history of the two sides, both teams are on a 2-match winning streak. The Cheetahs beat the Sharks last week by 27 points. Who saw that coming? It was a massive victory. Outplayed the Sharks by far. And then the Western Province beat the Griquas by 17 points last weekend. Stuart Barry, he's the referee for this game. A lot better referee, I think, in South Africa. Is probably one of the better ones. The Western Province, they have one thing going for them, and that is a 5-match winning streak against the Cheetahs. If we do go into the sides, both teams basically keep things unchanged. They are pretty comfortable with the sides they had last week. The big matchup in this game will be the two front rows going up against each other. The two scrums were very impressive for these two sides last week. Basically, both scrums won the game for their respective sides. The front row for the Western Province, we know that one of Kitsov, Mbunambi, Malaba. It's a impressive front row for them. Mbunambi, impressive last week. I think he probably would have scored 3 tries if he wasn't taken off early or early in the second half, but they did really well against the Griquas. So did the Cheetahs scrum against the Sharks. You didn't think they would be so dominant against the guys like Oxenchair, but Buan Venter, impressive performance last week, probably the standout player in that game. He didn't get man of the match, but he was my man of the match in that game. Mchunu also doing really great in that game. I think he is actually a lone player from the Sharks. You can correct me if I am wrong. Arnoldi, he is back from his injury that he's had most of this year. Very good guy to bring in. I did think the hooker that they did start last week did really do well. Reiner Venter, he was the good number 2 so far this year, but unfortunately he went overseas, so they are in search of a new number 2 yet again, the Cheetahs. Then we go to the locks. Schikkeling and Mayhazen, they are the new lock pairing for the Western Province. Mayhazen did have a good impact when he came on from the bench last week. I think he is one of the big guys in South Africa, probably one of the tallest ones now that JP de Pree did leave South Africa. So very tall timber for the Western Province up against Renil, Higu and Wagner. I think Higu played pretty well over the park last week, running pretty good lines over the park as well. Both lineouts did really well last week, so how they compare against each other is also going to be quite an interesting one to see. Then we get to the loose forwards. Jaco Coetzee, he was impressive last week, being a last-minute replacement for Siya Kolisi. I think that loose forward combination works perfectly for the Western Province with Johan de Toey and then Augustus as well. Perfect combination for them. Ntila, he's been doing well this season. Mohoje also coming back into his form after being injured. And in Rudolph, he got man of the match, I think, last week at the end of the game. He did really well in that game as well. I think he does get the ball forward as well for his side. He is back to the form he was when he was with the Pumas. Then we get to the number 9s. Herschel Yankees, he's not in the form that he was last year with the Springboks, but he's probably gonna get there sometime, hopefully for us, for the whole of South Africa. Ruben de Haas, he's improving as well for his side, the American international. He's getting a couple of starts now. He's getting better. I said a couple of weeks ago he made a couple of mistakes of passing too low or passing too high. Herschel Yankees is making the same mistakes, by the way, as well. Now it's looking a little bit better for the Haas as well, with Fortuin at number 10. Swiel is at number 10. It's probably two average number 10s for the two sides. Fortuin, I think he's a little bit more promising between the two. When you do look at him, he's a very classic number 10. He runs good lines, gets the ball out wide to the players that he needs to. I like how he plays. Both of them very classic number 10s. Then you get to number 12s. Frans Steyn, he's in great form at the moment. His boot is keeping the Cheetahs in the game, and since he has taken over some of the kicking duties and taken over some of those penalties, his game all over the park has improved. Rikus Pretorius, he's going up against one of his heroes. Both of them are Grey College players, or both of them went there. Just a big age difference between the two. Rikus Pretorius, he is promising. You can see there is signs of him being a very good player in the future. Then Dan du Plessis versus Dries Swanepoel there as well. Dan du Plessis, he scored a great try last week. Yes, there was a forward pass in there, but unfortunately, that's how it works these days with the officiating. Dries Swanepoel, he is a big guy to tame, so I would probably have went with Ruan Nel at number 13 for Western Province. But Dan du Plessis, he is kind of improving, but I thought Ruan Nel is probably the in-form number 13 for the Western Province at the moment. When we get to the wingers, Rhino Smith, he's coming in for the number 14 position. He did come on early in the game. I think he just before the halftime whistle for the Cheetahs last week because of a concussion to William Smallsmith. Then Smallsmith got injured, kind of weird injury. He got cleared for his concussion, and coming out to play again, he twisted his ankle or something like that, and then Rhino Smith had to continue the game. He was great in that game when he just continued the whole game through. I thought he was one of the impressive stars against the Cheetahs. Really, he's just one of those players that you have to keep your eye on the whole game. Angelo Davids versus him is going to be a great one to watch, because both of them are guys that you have to constantly watch. Sergil Peterson, another guy you have to constantly watch against Roscoe Spickman. All of the wingers in this game are guys that can score tries from anywhere. Then you get the number 15s, two playmakers in Clayton Blommetjies versus Damian Willemse. Damian Willemse, I think he's in better form at the moment now that he is at number 15 instead of number 10. Clayton Blommetjies, not in the best form we've seen him ever, but he's still in good form at the moment. On the benches, both teams changed up a little bit. Ntubeni, he's back from his injury. Nietlin Fushia, he's as well. So they strengthened up their front row replacements, the Western Province. So does the Cheetahs with Marnus van der Merwe, who drops to the bench. Erich de Jager, he comes in at number 17, joining Van Vieren. Bloose, he's been impressive for the Western Province as well, but you have to admit the scrum talent does drop a bit when he does come on. Unfortunately, he is a guy to watch out for, though, for the future. Chris van Zyl, you do not lose anything when he comes on for the second row for the Western Province. Chris Massain, he's back from his niggle he had last week. Tienison comes in for the Western Province. George Cronje, the number 21 for the Cheetahs, he carried the ball really well last week, I thought, when he came on. They went with a 6-2 split, the Cheetahs, so they have two backline replacements in Nisi and Tian Meyer. He brought on some experience when he came on last week. Ruan Nel on the bench for the Western Province. Tristan Lades there as well. Guys, predicting this game, I'd probably say the Cheetahs to win this one by 3 points. Unfortunately, I'm going to go against my team in this game. Let me know your prediction down in the comments below. Check out these other prediction videos next to me, and then I'll see you for the next one. Cheers.